Hello everyone, it's Ink here, and we're back with more Star Trek Armada 3. And I am an idiot. Guess who forgot to take their microphone off mute? So, because I didn't want to dump all my footage, I am instead going to commentate over the gameplay that I took. And try and remember what the hell I was saying, and generally try to salvage things, because I don't want to have to re-record this. So, yep, we are looking around, and looking at ships. That's a ship. Oh yeah, the main thing here is that we are looking at getting more ships. We need to get that supply maxed out, and then boost it up, and maxed out again. We need to start getting a position where we have enough ships to start challenging Borg dominance. Because, as I mentioned in the Ink Marathon of Sacrifice of Angels, I've been looking at the the results screens for this particular game every time I finish an episode, and yeah, I've been falling behind pretty badly. The Dominion are not doing great either. They're above me, but the Borg just have a significant lead, and the only way we're actually going to get anything out of this is if we keep killing them. Strange but true, that's usually how games work. You win if you kill them, and you don't if they kill you. So we've got a couple of cubes running around, which are the bane of my existence. In at least two episodes which I ended up dumping because they went so horribly wrong. They murdered my entire fleet. Fun fact, not every episode that I put out is necessarily the first one that I recorded. But out of a sense of paranoia, it's time to start buffing up the defenses on Earth. Just to make sure that we don't die horribly. So we're getting up some hangars. Just to try and help a little bit, because Strikecraft in Star Trek Armada 3 are not as dangerous as they are in Sins of a Silver Empire in general. You are not going to be able to get something like the terrifying Advent swoosh effect, where you get a mob of carriers together, and suddenly you can vaporize an entire fleet in one run. It's not going to happen here. And it shouldn't, because that's not really a Star Trek thing. But a decent mob of Mark II Valkyries, which I'm pointing to now, yep, are going to do some hurt. You can see there that the Danubes have a mixture of phasers and photons. The Mark II Valkyrie has pure quantum torpedoes, and it does more damage than either. Than both put together, even. So that's fun. Alright, so getting some upgrades, getting some powers, shield coordination, engineering teams, yep. Reinforced shields on the Ambassador. Making all the things happen. And we've got pirates coming in to say hi, because they're rude like that. And we are building Defiance, because why not? Defiance are good. They're relatively cheap, they do a lot of damage, and I did have a vague plan to use them to start dropping minefields. I don't in this episode, or indeed the next one. I might look at that eventually. Might do, we'll see. In the meantime, we're just happily murdering all of these pirates. It's kind of annoying that they keep showing up, but at the same time, it's all XP fodder for our capital ships. Because we just don't really have the spare credits to try and rank things up that way. And even if we did, you can only buy so many levels on a capital ship, and most of the Borg stuff is like level 9, level 10. I have no idea how. I guess they've just fighting enough that that's a thing, but I swear that the AI, that the AI cheats with that the AI cheats when it comes to getting ranks on capital ships, because it always seems to be way higher than it should be. But there we go, we have our Typhon, which unlocks the Mark II Valkyrie, and is a pretty decent carrier in its own right. And I'll probably look at getting some more once we upgrade our fleet cap, but for the immediate moment, whenever I do that, I'm pretty sure I do that this episode, we need to summon in the Enterprise, because we have a free capital ship which we're not using, which is terrible. And then I want to get hold of a Prometheus, which is a nice little combined damage dealer and fleet support vessel. It's primarily a damage dealer, but the main reason I'm interested in it for the purposes of dealing with the Borg is one of its powers is called Extend Warp Field, and it's basically a giant bubble which allows all of your ships to move faster and warp out quicker and sooner. So it'll be great if we have to suddenly disengage from a battle which is going horribly wrong, which seems to happen more often than I'd like. How are we doing over here? We've got the Chuckle Brothers over here, and more pirates. More pirates. Alrighty. So yeah, they're moving through. And we're looking at getting even more hangars, because more hangars. And we're actually getting a little starved on our minerals, so need to juggle things around a little bit there. And here I'm thinking about getting some of the Mark I Valkyries, but I decided not to at this point. Just because the Borg don't have any small ships, and they don't have any fighters, so there's not a great deal of point. We just need all the heavy anti-capital support that we can get. In the meantime, we've got the Dominion engaging in combat over here. But they're not really making much headway. They've been able to keep the Borg from invading their territory. I'm not entirely sure how, because it feels like they end up getting the worst of most of the engagements. But it's kind of a stalemate situation. The Borg are trying to push through and just kind of stalling out repeatedly. So the Dominion can't push through, the Borg either can't or won't, so it's down to me. All the future of this game is down to the human player, which is a good thing, because otherwise it would be dull, but it's also kind of a lot of pressure. Okay, what am I looking at now? We've got some more fleet caps, so we're going to build more ships, we're going to build more Defiance, because Defiance. But we're running low on minerals, so what's cheap on minerals? And I believe we end up going for Intrepids, because they are dirt cheap when it comes to Tritanium, while still being pretty decently effective. They don't do quite as much damage as a Defiant, but they've got similar kind of defensive stats. They've got a nice little debuff that they can drop on people. Yeah, it's all good. Got zooming in on our Mark II Valkyrie for a beauty shot. I believe that the idea of the Valkyrie as a combat ship never actually came up in the series, but I believe that is based off the little ships which we see in the first Duty, which was a Next Generation episode, which involved Wesley Crusher at the Academy being part of a stunt team where one of the members dies and it all goes horribly wrong. Now I'm bemoaning the fact that we don't have enough research, so we're getting research, doing the researchy thing, research. Because yeah, our research level is pretty terrible. We've got most of our ships available, but the ships we have not been upgraded anywhere near as much as they should. So we're having to juggle three things. We're having to juggle building new ships, with upgrading our logistics cap, with actually upgrading the ships that we have. So fun times. Meantime, the Borg are doing this like slow dance around Sol, where they are thinking about moving forward and then deciding not to. We do at some point end up with a Borg vessel coming to pay us a visit, but yeah, here we go, with Dominion taking on a Borg fleet and just not doing too well. They're outnumbered and outgunned. Really, what can you do at that point? Alright, so this is interesting. I was wondering when this was going to happen. Because I saw it happen before. But I didn't actually spot the exact moment. But the Borg are dropping... It looks like the Borg and the Dominion are getting into a bidding war to get the pirates going. And we're summoning in the Enterprise. If you remember, the pirates target whoever has the highest amount of bounty on them.
Standing by.
But the problem is that there is a risk inherent in trying to up someone's bounty to get the pirates to target them. Because the more cash you put into the bounty, the bigger the ensuing pirate fleet will be. So if you find that you can't match your opponent's bounties, then you'll drop a huge amount of money into bounties for no real benefit. Yeah, here we go. Tactical sphere, no support. It looks a little scary, but it's going to die fast. But there's a very real risk that when you try to outbid someone for pirates, if you lose, you've wasted a lot of money, and at the same time, you will have a massive pirate fleet coming for you. So it's kind of a potential double-edged sword. I was also wondering how the Dominion ended up with such a large bounty on them. It looked like they got into a bidding war, and they ended up losing. And then when I kill this sphere, that's going to award me the entirety of the Borg bounty. I'm fairly sure that's how it works. It's either the sphere is dying in pretty short order. Yeah, there it goes. And yeah, you see the little red number on the side of the screen for the Borg bounty has just gone down to 0, and I gained a couple of thousand credits. And technically there are ways to play buggers with this, like, there are researches which you can get which basically increase the amount of bounty actually applied compared to the amount of credits which you put in. So theoretically, you could put a bounty on someone and then kill them as kind of a return with interest thing, but it's not really something which I've ever engaged in. And killing that sphere did actually get our Polaris up to a higher rank. So we have a couple of new abilities. We have some fun shields, which will increase our firepower and eventually start increasing our resistance the more that people shoot at us. We also have the Temporal Shockwave, which I have yet to try out, but I believe is based upon the Mannheim Temporal Institute superweapon, which the Federation got in Star Trek Armada 1 and 2, which froze a section of the battlefield, where the enemy just couldn't move, they couldn't do anything, while your ships were free to move and kill them. And then when the effect ended, with this cool wavy, woodly effect, anyone who died just instantly exploded altogether. It was kind of cool. But I believe that the Polaris has something akin to that ability, or as close as they could achieve in the Sins engine. We'll see. But in the meantime, hey look, we're building a Prometheus, like I said we would. And we have a bunch of spare resources. And very little fleet supply, so it's time to get the next upgrade. And the Borg are doing the slow conga line once again. Cool beans, we've got more pirates coming through, who are going to be targeting the Dominion for once, but because the juiciest Dominion target is going actually through Earth, they're still going to come to exactly the same place, and they're still going to get murdered, which is fun. So yes, and I believe we're about to wrap up, so in the next episode, I can tell you that we'll be building more ships, and then playing a will they won't they game with the Dominion, about actually advancing. So until next time, yes, we will watch this happen with big scary ships. Yep. Stay safe, folks. And hopefully I don't have to do this again, because I'm not an idiot.